Alright, so while the inner frame parts are drying, I'm going to move on to the next part of the colors. That will be, of course, the blue parts. And even though we're going to use Titan's Blue 1 as going to be the dark tone for the chest area, the feet, the back calf, and of course the knees, I've decided to change up and make it two tones with that, not all completely one color tone. And since I just got my hands on the Titan's Blue 2, I'm going to do two tones with the upper part of the body. Let's see how this paint looks. And again, of course, this thing is making an annoying noise. I apologize for that. It's actually really nice. Let me try to zoom in a bit more so you guys can see it more clearly. And we'll utilize this one. Now, like the Titan's Blue 1, Titan's Blue 2's mixture is very well done. The pigments on the paint comes out really nice and smooth as long as you do a 1:1 ratio with the leveling thinner. That, and of course putting the your compressor at a good steady 15 psi's. Actually, do I have 15 psi's? Yes, I do. Just double check. Right now I'm just going to do a light pass here, and then I'm going to do an overall pass later on because I don't want to oversaturate it in certain areas. I also took the liberty of reviewing all the parts that I know one goes on top of another, like a one layered kit part after another, and I realized which one I'm going to actually paint one color while the other one I have to paint the other color. This is the shield, of course. Sorry, I wasn't looking at what I was doing. Looking at the part and not at the camera to make sure you guys can see this. Yeah, I have to say that both the paints, Titan's Blue 1 and 2, are like the must-have paints when you want to use a darker color tone or a bluish tone. This bluish tone has a bit of a purplish hue to it. Of course, I may be seeing it wrong in the light. I better make sure I get the whole thing because I don't know if the front part I'm covering something. I will review it later on. But it is very, very, very pretty. Just going to do two more parts here so you guys can see this. Alright, I'm just going to stop right there, just to let it settle in. It's okay, it's okay to do, more than one layer. Let's do the shoulder part here. Look how smooth that is. I don't know if you guys can see in the light. There we go. But it's very, very nice. Now here's the one thing that I was going to show off, that like these little parts here, this is part of the shoulder. So I'll be painting this blue color tone, but the other one will be the darker tone. And it will show off right through the kit. We'll explore that later on. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to continue on with the remaining parts, redo them again if I miss something, and then once I feel comfortable with what I see, we'll move on to the next part. Alright, so let's continue on. Okay, I am now going to begin painting the next color, and that is going to be Titan's Blue 1. Supplement, of course, to Titan's Blue 2, which I've done with the blue. Now, before I start painting this, you gotta understand, I'm going to be using a lot of this paint on the areas of the blue that I'm going to cover, some white parts, and the wings. The foot, you know, the outside of the wings, not the inside. And to give you a generalization of how it looks painted and dry, here is on a spoon that I painted on this. I got my nice, good consistency of this, and I really like how it looks because it's not too, it's very dark, but it has a tinge of gray to it. And, you know, I was going to do completely and utterly black on this, but lately my black painting skills, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to want to come out right. But I've always been a fan of this paint. And we're going to paint a few of these parts to see how it looks. First off, I'm going to paint the red part because this is going to be part of the foot. That part is done. And then I might as well get the top part of that, and that's this. Make sure to get every bit about this part because I don't know if it's going to be showing off areas I'm going to miss. Look how smooth that is. It's utterly smooth. I mean, right now this is a small part that you probably won't see it, but we're going to try something a little bit bigger. Let's try this one. Check the priming on this. Okay, that's good. Alright, I'm a little nervous, but I want to do this nice and slow. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. And of course, not in the camera frame. Great. Sorry about that. Doing this reminds me of when I did the real grade wing Gundam when I was doing the pre-shading. That was a great build. Let me grab the edges. it another pass later on. Let's try something a little smaller. Let's try a feather. Remember that this side is going to be the orange color tones, while this side will be the darker tones. So, just go nice and slow. Actually, you know what? I'm going to bring this up closer. Let's do this again. Now there is something that I should be a little bit aware of. Even though this is painted on this side and this is not painted on this side, there is this leading edge here, and that, of course, I'm going to have to remind myself that when I paint the orange, it has to be in this position so that way I can grab everything here and not on the inside. Not try to turn around and think, oh, let me grab the other side. Oops, made a mistake. Let me just do another pass. There we go. Dude, get yourself Titan's Blued 1. If you guys see it at a hobby store or online at a good price, maybe $2.99, $3.99 you could say. Well, $3.99 is a little too much. I'm seeing it for $2.99 to $3.50. Pick up a bottle. No, sorry. Pick up 2 bottles. That's what you need. All right. So when I was looking at the manual, looking at the picture, the bottom part of the skirt armor is white, while the bottom part of the skirt armor was black, while the top part of the skirt armor is white. So this will be a darker tone. There's some other blue parts I'm going to put to the side. Where is that? There we go. Because this was the one that I wanted to put in the inside of the blue, which I was going to do a different blue tone, but I'm going to do this. That part is done. Alright, let's do something a little bigger. And no, not too zoomed. This one. Now, there is something that I have noticed here, which I will explain as airbrush. There are feathers that's on the outside that are exposed from the flip side. These here, those are like internal feathers that I guess are showing off. Now, I shouldn't be doing that. I should leave that alone because I'm going to paint that orange so when the wings open up, I can then paint those, the orange. I just have to mask this. Okay guys, you know what the gist is during all this. I'm going to begin continuing on with the remaining parts that need all this. This is going to take me some time. Oh, I'm not going to paint the yellow on the front part of the chest. After reviewing this, I'm not going to do it. I decided not to do it. But first, let me just take care of all these guys, because there's a lot of these that I got to work with. Review them, make sure that they're all covered up and everything else. And then we move on to the fun part. And that is, of course, the yellow, or yellow-orange, you could say, the lighter tones. So let me continue on with this, alright? Okay, I'm now going to begin painting the white parts now of the Master Grade Wing Gundam 0EW version Kazoki. And I'm going to be using GX1 white. I poured a lot of it in here in this bottle and thinned it up pretty good. Put the, say, 1 to 1.5 ratio, close to it. Make sure it comes out nice. Good. And I'm going to start pulling out some white parts here. Begin with this one. I'm just going to do some light passes here. Review it later on. Just may have to do like 1 or 2 passes every now and then, just to make sure that I get good coverage. It's going to be partially covered by that blue part. Make sure to get the bottom part as well. Besides the white parts that I'm doing, I'm also doing some of the colored parts. I already painted the yellow, painted primer on this yellow part, but I'm going to give it a white base first. It doesn't have to be shiny, just to give it a good coverage, so that when I paint the yellow over it, it'll have a much more highlighted look to it. Especially this part here. Now, in my last video, so I was painting these guys, but I'm going to paint white on the flip side, again, to highlight it when I apply the art. Just a reasonable coat. That should be enough. And as you can see, nothing's affected back here. This one, of course, needs to be painted a good layer of white. That should be fine. And of course, the inside of this. inside of this area, so this is fine. Now I've been slowly contemplating of the two-tone again, whether I should do it or not. I don't know. There's a lot of work here, especially since I've spent a lot of time waiting for primer and getting things done. There's a lot of areas for that, but I think I'm gonna probably not do it. We'll see what happens. I may end up changing my mind again. It's my kid. One thing that I have to be prepared for is the masking, because there's a lot of parts that I need to mask off to do some interesting effects. We'll discuss that later on. But for now, let me paint all these parts white and then move on.